The first time I knew something was wrong, I was standing alone in the kitchen. I held a spoon in my hand. The spoon was cold and a little heavy. I looked down at it, but I didn't feel hungry. I wasn't crying. I didn't shout or get angry. Instead, I felt empty inside. It was like someone had turned off all the lights in my heart and left me in the dark. I stood very still, and my hands did not move. In the next room, I could hear him. Jamie. His voice was loud, and he was laughing on the phone. The sound filled the house, but it did not reach me. I felt like I was outside, watching a movie where I was not part of the story. His laugh was happy and free, but I knew it was not for me. It was for someone else, someone I did not know. I wanted to reach out, to ask why. But the words got stuck inside my throat. I felt small and lost. My heart wanted to believe that maybe it was just a joke or a mistake. But deep inside, I knew the truth. That laugh had never really belonged to me. My name is Leena. I am 36 years old. I live in a small house just outside Manchester. This is my story. It is not a story of big fights or loud dramas. It is a quiet story. A slow story. A story about feeling used by someone I loved, year after year, until I looked in the mirror and did not recognize myself anymore. I was not always like this. Before, I was soft inside. I had hope in my heart. I loved the sound of rain on the window. I liked to go to old bookstores and touch the worn pages of books. I loved to bake cakes and cookies for my family and friends. It made me happy to give love to people. I believed that if you give love, you will get love back. That was my hope. I grew up in a small town. My mother was a single mom. She worked very hard. She cleaned houses all day and sometimes all night. I saw her come home tired, but she never stopped. She told me about loyalty, about staying with someone even when it is hard. She said, even if no one sees, you stay because it is right. Maybe that is where my story began. I learned that if you hold on to someone long enough, they will love you back. I wanted to believe in that with all my heart. I met Jamie when I was 24 years old. He was 5 years older than me, 29. At that time, I worked at a design firm as an assistant. My job was small, and sometimes I felt invisible. I was just trying to do my best and get by each day. One morning, Jamie came into the office. He wanted to show us his ideas for a new brand. He talked with confidence. His smile was easy and warm. When he looked at me, it felt like the sun was shining just for me. I had never felt that way before. After the meeting, he asked me for my phone number. My heart beat faster. That night, I sent a message to my best friend. I wrote, "I think I met someone. He is different." And he was different, at first. He brought me flowers one day, simple, pretty flowers. He remembered my birthday without needing Facebook to remind him. When we talked, he really listened. Or at least, that's what I thought. Once, when he held my hand, I felt something warm inside. I believed it meant something real. For the first time, I felt chosen. Like I mattered. After 1 year, Jamie and I moved in together. It was a small flat, with soft yellow walls and a window that looked out onto the street. I was happy and nervous. My mom warned me quietly one evening. She looked at me with tired eyes and said, "People can wear masks for a long time, love. Don't give your whole heart too fast." But I didn't listen. I was already deep inside this love. So deep that I didn't even know I was drowning. At first, the changes were small. He stopped asking me how my day went. Sometimes, I waited to tell him about something good, but he didn't seem to care. Then, he started borrowing money. "Just until the business picks up," he said, smiling, but I could see the worry in his eyes. I gave him money again and again. One day, our anniversary passed quietly. No card. No dinner. When I asked him, he said I was overreacting. "It's just a day," he told me, and that made me feel small. I kept making excuses. He was tired. He was stressed. I told myself, love means patience. All relationships have hard times. But inside me, a little voice whispered. A quiet pain grew in my heart. It hurt. It ached. But I didn't know how to stop loving him. When I was 28, I was doing everything in our small flat. I cooked the meals, cleaned the rooms, and paid the bills. Every day felt full and tiring. Jamie had business meetings almost every night. But really, that meant he was gone for many hours. He never told me where he went. I learned not to ask questions. I remember one night clearly. It was raining hard. The rain made soft sounds on the window. I stayed awake, waiting for him. It was almost midnight. I had made lasagna, his favorite food. I hoped he would come home hungry and happy. The kitchen smelled warm and cozy. When he finally came in, he was 3 hours late. I saw the smell of alcohol on his clothes. His eyes looked tired but cold. He said without care, "I didn't ask you to wait." I stood there, holding the cold plate with lasagna. My hands were shaking a little. I whispered softly, "But I thought we were a team." He looked at me like I was a stranger, someone he didn't know. Then he said, "You always make everything so dramatic." That night, something inside me broke. A small crack grew in my heart. But even then, I stayed. I stayed because I hoped things would get better. I stayed because I was scared of being alone. Here is something no one told me before: being used is not always loud or cruel. Sometimes, it is quiet. It feels like being forgotten, like someone is there but not really with you. It feels like someone is always gone, but you wait and wait. This kind of pain is soft but deep. It is called emotional neglect. It looks like being independent, but really, it means you are alone, even when you live together. I gave him so much. He took my money again and again. I paid for things for him, things he said were for his work or his dreams. I gave him my time. I stopped doing things for myself because I was busy helping him. I gave him my kindness. But he did not see it as kindness. He used it like a shield, like armor, when he met other people. He looked strong and proud outside, but inside, I was empty and tired. One winter, things were very hard. Jamie could not pay rent. I did something I never thought I would do. I sold my grandmother's ring. It was small and old, but it meant a lot to me. I sold it to help him. I gave him the money quietly. He said thank you only once. It felt like a tiny word in a big silence. Then, I got very sick. For a whole week, I could not get out of bed. My body was heavy, and I was weak. I hoped he would care. I hoped he would help me. But he did not. He looked at me and said, "Don't be so dramatic. You will be fine." He did not bring me water. He did not ask if I needed anything. I felt small, invisible. I wanted to cry, but the tears would not come. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of silence and cold. The real breaking point was not a big fight. It was quiet, small, but very painful. It happened on a Sunday morning. The sun was soft and warm, but inside, I felt cold. Jamie had been gone all night again. I waited for him, but he didn't come home until late. When I was cleaning under the bed, I found something. It was a necklace. It was not mine. The necklace was pretty, small and silver, but it did not belong in our home. I held it in my hand. I did not know what to feel. I stared at it for a long time, maybe an hour. My heart was heavy and confused. When Jamie came home, I waited for a moment. Then I asked him, "Whose necklace is this?" He didn't say no. He didn't even look surprised or scared. He just looked at me and shrugged his shoulders. Then he said, "Don't make this into some soap opera. You knew what this was." Those words still stay in my mind. You knew what this was. It felt like my love was not real. Like it was just a deal or a trade. Like my loyalty and my heart did not mean anything to him. I stood there, feeling small and lost. It was the moment I began to see the truth. I was not enough for him. Maybe I was never meant to be. I didn't leave right away. I wish I could say I packed my bags that very night and walked out into the rain like in the movies. But I didn't. I stayed. For 2 more months. 2 long months of quiet pain. I was scared. Not scared that Jamie would hurt me. No. I was scared of starting over. I was scared to say out loud that I had been wrong about someone I loved for so many years. I was scared of losing all the time I had spent hoping and waiting. One morning, I looked at myself in the mirror. The person I saw was not me anymore. Her eyes were tired. Her smile was gone. I did not recognize the woman looking back. I realized I had not laughed in months. I had stopped painting, even though it was something I used to love so much. My small art corner was dusty, with brushes still dry. I felt like I had lost a part of myself. And most of all, I realized I hadn't been loved, not really loved, maybe ever. So that morning, I decided to leave. There was no big fight. No yelling or tears. Just a quiet, soft morning. I packed a small bag. I wrote a letter and left it on the table. Then I walked out the door, feeling scared, but also a little free. People think leaving someone is the hardest part. But for me, it was not. The hardest part came after. I woke up in a small, cold flat. The walls were empty, and the silence was loud. I barely had enough money to pay the rent. Every morning felt strange. I had to learn how to live alone again. I had to learn how to cook for one person, not two. I had to stop saying sorry when I needed space, even if it was just for a little while. Some nights were very hard. I would scream into my pillow when no one could hear me. I felt a storm inside my chest. On other days, I almost picked up the phone to call Jamie. I thought maybe it would be better to feel the pain I knew, the pain of him, than this cold, quiet emptiness. But slowly, something changed. Little by little, I started to put myself back together. I found my old paintbrushes and began to paint again. The colors made me feel alive. I started to go on long walks outside, where the sun and wind touched my face. I learned to say no to things that did not feel right, without feeling bad about it. One day, I looked in the mirror. For the first time in a long time, I smiled. Not a small smile, but a real one. I thought to myself, I'm still here. And that moment gave me hope. I could say one thing to him, I would say this. You didn't break me. No matter what you did, I am still here. You used me for years. You took the softest parts of my heart and made them your tools. But I am not what you made me. I am not something to throw away. I am not stupid for loving you. I was kind. I gave my best. And I deserved better than this. Today, I am not fully healed. Not yet. Some wounds inside me are not scars, they are slow, quiet cuts that are still closing. But I am free now. Free to live for myself. I work at an art center. I teach children how to paint their feelings with colors. It makes me happy to see them smile and create. I rent a small flat above a bakery. Every morning, the smell of fresh bread fills the air. On Sundays, I take a walk in the park. I bring a small flask of warm tea. I sit on a wooden bench under a big, old oak tree. I sit quietly, feeling calm. I am alone, but I am not lonely. I feel peace. Sometimes, his voice still comes into my mind. It sounds like a shadow. But now, I speak back. I tell myself, you used me. But you don't own me anymore. I was used for years. It felt like my heart was a tool for someone else's needs, not my own. But slowly, in the quiet moments alone, I found myself again. In the silence, in the pain, and in the small steps of building a new life just for me. It was not easy. Sometimes, I wanted to give up. But little by little, I grew stronger. Maybe that is the bravest thing I have ever done, to love myself again and choose my own path. Thank you for listening to my story. Share your heart in the comments. Let's heal together.